So we're going to talk about a game called Little Nightmares. If you haven't played it yet but you're planning to, this video will contain a few spoilers. Also, there will be graphic content included. You have been warned. For a brief background, this horror puzzle platform game was developed by Tarsier Studios, which is based in Sweden, and was published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. It was released back in April 28, 2017, and it's available on Windows, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch platforms. Tarsier Studios has also released a prequel called Little Nightmares 2 in February 2021, but in this video we're only going to talk about the first one. The main game has 5 chapters, which revolves around a young girl named Six, who's also wearing a yellow raincoat. She's in an iron vessel called the Maw, which is managed by a woman resembling a geisha. That woman is called the Lady. The first chapter is when Six encounters gnomes, which are these harmless creatures with a triangular hat, carnivorous leeches that wrap around her if she's caught, and giant metal eyes that radiate light that could turn children to stone if they're seen by it. Six also experiences her first hunger attack, but she survives when an imprisoned child gives her some bread. The second chapter begins with another hunger attack, which forces Six to eat a piece of raw meat that a long-armed janitor uses as bait to lure her in a cage. But she manages to escape. There are multiple scenes where the janitor chases after her while she's carrying a lever or dodging obstacles. In the last chase scene, Six slides under a collapsing door that severs the janitor's elongated arms. In the beginning of the third chapter, Six experiences a hunger attack again, and she ends up eating a live rat that was caught in a mousetrap. Afterwards, she searches for keys while avoiding the twin chefs. Before the last scene, Six has to sneak past the twin chefs in order to reach the lever that switches the direction of the meat hooks. She then climbs up a tower of plates to grab one of the hooks. The last scene is the twin chefs chasing her, but she escapes by grabbing onto another meat hook. The fourth chapter begins with Six climbing up a ladder outside of the Maw, while panning to show the ocean and the guests boarding the vessel. A clearer view of the guests is shown when Six climbs inside the dining room. She avoids getting caught by one of the twin chefs and the hungry guests. I mean, they're absolutely ravenous. This chapter ends with Six having yet another hunger attack. A gnome offers her a sausage, but she eats the gnome instead. The fifth and final chapter of the main game takes place in the lady's headquarters, which has broken mirrors in most places. She sneaks in the lady's room to get a key. When Six opens the locked door, the lady emerges from the dark and chases after her. The last hurdle that Six has to do is to defeat the lady by holding an unbroken mirror in front of her. Afterwards, the lady is in a weakened state, and 6 experiences a hunger attack. 6 killed the lady and ends up gaining her powers. The final scene is 6 walking through the dining room and sucking the life out of the guests when they try to approach her. A metal door that serves as an exit opens and 6 walks up the stairs to the outside world. Now for the graphics and sound. As aforementioned, this game is a platformer, but it's also in a 3.5D or 2.5 dimensional perspective. What is 2.5D? The easiest way to describe it is when it looks like you're viewing a dollhouse that only has one open and accessible side, like these examples. Does the game look great? Yes, it does. It looks amazing. The details in each room make it more realistic, and players can interact with various things in the background, even those that are not needed in solving a certain puzzle. The other characters, especially the twin chefs and the guests, look so grotesque that their design makes them effective in giving the unsettling atmosphere that the game requires. Speaking of atmosphere, the soundtrack greatly adds to the quality of this game overall. There are 24 tracks in the game, all of which are composed by Tobias Lilja. Ominous, eerie, or downright beautiful are 3 words that can perfectly describe them. In conclusion, Little Nightmares is an amazing game. The puzzles are creative and enjoyable. The horror aspect doesn't hit you with jump scares every minute, but instead, the eeriness of the atmosphere builds up until you have to run from grotesque creatures chasing you. I highly recommend it to people who generally likes dark and strange plots. Sadly, I don't have the additional content for this game and the prequel. However, Little Nightmares 1 alone is definitely something to add on your wishlist. That's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching.